Hi guys, welcome back into my ultimate word destroyer Bluetooth speaker guide and introduction video where I showcase you all of my Bluetooth speakers. This is the second part of this series, and if you haven't seen the first one, then you can find the link of it in the description. And we are started the smallest speakers, and we are just entered a little bit larger category in this video, and the first speaker I'm showing you is from the UE Ultimate Ears. This is the UE Wonderboom, I guess. Yes, this is the Wonderboom. This is a decent size speaker. It's a good compromise of size, portability, and sound quality. So in terms of volume and bass, it's really an improvement to the smallest category we checked before. Like, for example, comparing to the Jbl Go or the Sony SRS XB12, it's a little bit larger, as you can see. And it has a bigger sound. So overall, I like this speaker. My problem was that many times its bass was uncontrolled, became uncontrolled and overpowered, and which produced not a nice sound. So overall, it I think has a good sound, but not in every case. So that was my problem with this speaker. But this is not the newest model. This is the UE Wonderboom 2, very similar to the first edition, just a little bit redesigned buttons, redesigned hook, and let's check the charging port. Yes, it's the not USB-C, not USB-C, so more or less the same. I think it got an additional feature like you can turn on some outdoor mode, which a little bit boosts its sound, but otherwise it's almost the same. But with this speaker I didn't experience this uncontrolled bass and distorted sound, so I prefer this second edition over the first one. So I think it was sound-wise a good improvement, otherwise it's not so interesting. But yeah, it's a cute little speaker which comes in many colors and funny colors. I think it's a good outdoor speaker. Let's continue with a speaker from Anker. This is the SoundCore Motion Q. Really similar, as you can see, to the UE Wonderboom, at least in terms of size, design. Yeah, almost the same. It has an auxiliary input port, which is missing from the Wonderboom 2, but yeah, similar speaker in the similar category. Sound-wise, I quite like this speaker. Maybe it's missing in terms of bass, I don't remember well, but if you are just want to use it for some casual stuff, then it's I think a good choice considering its price, or at least it used to be. This is a newer speaker from LG, Xboom. This is the LG Xboom Go Pl2. This is probably the smallest, or at least this is the smallest what I have from the LG lineup. We will check the larger models. The design is really the same. It's a little bit like a squeezed model of the larger ones. Yeah, made from plastic, but still feels quite sturdy. What I don't like about this model, that actually these look like a passive radiator, but actually these are not, just a fake design element. And actually if you open this, Then here you can find the ports. This is an interesting model, probably the coolest Bluetooth speaker I have, or at least as far as the look at the design is concerned. You can see that very funny colors, summerish design. I would say it's a really good beach Bluetooth speaker. The problem with this that it got a mesh grill and it can get filled with sand and yeah, even after weeks you can or months you can get some sand from your Bluetooth speaker, but otherwise it's a really good looking stylish model with two large buttons on top of it. I don't know if it's still available or not. Probably not. I think it didn't get a predecessor, the next generation. It was just simply, let's say, replaced by the Wonderboom. This is the UE Roll 2 actually. And in terms of sound, it can get pretty loud, surprisingly loud, but quite flat. So mainly just middle and not too much bass, just high and middle. But it has this fine accessory which helps the speaker to float on the water. So it's really cool to use it in a pool. Okay, now we go one category higher, at least in terms of size, not necessarily in terms of quality, especially because I started this with this size category with this model, which is the Amazon Basics Bluetooth speaker. I think BSK30, it's a model number. It's a very cheap Bluetooth speaker. I don't remember what was its price, but it was very, very cheap. Yeah, what you can actually feel in the quality of used materials. It's hard, solid plastic. Also the back is plastic, cheap buttons. And yeah, in terms of sound quality, it's not great, but considering its price, it's not a bad choice if you want a model in this size with the smallest budget. Let's continue with the Tribit. This is the Tribit BTS20 XSound Go. I think this is a quite popular speaker. It got quite a lot of hype, let's say, because it's very cheap and considered a speaker with a quite good sound quality, and I can confirm it. So considering its small size and price, it produces a pretty good sound. So it's a good budget speaker. I think it's also water protected, quite sturdy. Let's continue with the creative model. This is the creative Nuno, and I think there is also a micro version of it, which is like half size of this. I also had those smaller brother of this speaker, but I already sold it. What I like about this speaker is this cover. I think it looks stylish and modern. I really like that. It looks good in a modern apartment, I guess. But otherwise, if you are checking the buttons, like you can see, it's the same as on the Amazon Basics. And also this plastic is a cheaper one. But it's not an expensive speaker, it's also quite cheap. So I like its design, its sound is not so good, I think. But design-wise, it's okay. Let's continue with this Vtin Punker. This is also a cheap speaker and very sturdy. I can tell that. Metal, these are also metal elements, strong rubberized plastics. So probably it's a good outdoor speaker. Also water protected, probably not fully water protected, just splash proof, but I'm not sure. Sound wise, if I remember well, it's a bit harsh, can be quite loud, but not a nice balanced sound. But yeah, this is a cheap speaker. One of the most popular speaker in this size category, or at least it used to be, was this Jbl Flip 4. This was considered as a good all-arounder if you want something in this portable category. Still not super heavy, still not super big, but it has a nice sound, water protected, durable. This used to be a nice speaker. This is the 4th generation, and I also have the 5th one. As you can see, quite similar. It's a little bit, it's bigger. Its signature element was this external passive radiators on both sides. I still can recommend these speakers. I think also the Flip 5 is definitely an improvement in terms of sound. So I would definitely choose the Flip 5 over the Flip 4. And while it's also not the cheapest one, it's in its category, it has a pretty decent sound and features. The difference is that, as I said, it got an improved sound, and it's a USB Type-C charging port, and probably you can connect this one with other new JBL speakers, but this is using an older technology, so probably it cannot be connected together with other newer JBL speakers. But yeah, this is the Flip from JBL, and I have another model from this lineup. I also have the Jbl Flip Essential model, which is actually a new model. I guess it came with the Flip 5, and this is intended as a cheaper alternative to the Flip 5, I guess. But the price difference is not so significant, so I would definitely go with the Flip 5. As you can see, it's a little bit smaller. I think it's even a little bit smaller than the Flip 4. Yes. And what I can tell that it's very similar to the Flip 4. Because it's just like the Flip 4. It has the older USB standard, so not the USB Type-C. And probably in terms of sound quality, they are also quite similar. So these are the 3 from the JBL Flip lineup. And as you can see, also the passive design of the passive radiator is also more similar to the Flip 4 than to the Flip 5. Flip 5 a little bit got this 3D design. Okay, and let's continue with the speaker, which is from a different brand, but still quite similar. This is from Tribit, and this is the Tribit Xboom. I think now it got a different name, maybe Storm or X-Storm or something like that. But as you can see, it's in terms of size and in terms of design, it resembles pretty much to the Jbl Flip lineup. Also got these external passive radiators, while in the Flip models the drivers are here, firing only in one direction. Here I think the drivers are located on the two sides, a little bit producing an omnidirectional sound. And yes, it also has a quite decent sound. It's comparable to the Flip 5. You can check my sound comparison video. Usually I found the Tribit speakers quite good in their categories, and a little bit they are cheaper than the competitors. Okay, and I continue with another Anker model. I just quickly show you my Anker lineup so far. So these are the Anker models what we already checked in the former part of this series and this part. The smallest Anker, a little bit larger, and now we are checking the SoundCore 2. I wouldn't say it's in the same category as the Flip 5, because it's still a little bit smaller, but yeah, it's similar sized, but much cheaper. And I think it's also a quite popular speaker, and I can see why. It's a really good budget speaker, or at least it used to be a good budget speaker. It's not the newest model. I think there is also an updated one from this. It's splash proof, quite sturdy. The whole speaker is covered by this rubberized plastic rubber material, and sound-wise I really like this speaker. It lacks in terms of bass, but otherwise has a really nice sound compared to the speakers in this price range. It used to be a really good budget speaker. And sorry, I missed one speaker from the Anker lineup. This is the Motion Q. This is a bit newer than this one, and I think it's also an improvement in terms of sound compared to the SoundCore 2. So in terms of sound, I prefer this Motion Q, but both are, almost all Anker speakers are quite decent budget speakers. And I think that's it for today. This was the second part of my Ultimate Word Destroyer Bluetooth speaker showcase video, where I try to show you all of my 55 Bluetooth speakers, not in details, just quickly look at them. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed this series. If yes, then you can check my next video soon. You can check for the link in the description of this video. See you in the next video. If you like this one, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel. You are watching Speaker Fanatic.